You walk into a room and a woman says hi, but the way she does it tells you everything. Some greetings are just polite, but others, they're dripping with sexual tension, practically screaming, I want you right now. Most guys are blind to it, thinking it's nothing, while she's secretly testing if you'll pick up the signal. Tonight, I'm going to expose the exact greetings women use when they're horny and ready, so you'll never second. Guess if she wants sex. Pay close attention because once you see these signs, you'll never unsee them. Let's dive in. When a woman greets you, most men think it's just a casual hello, a polite exchange of words, nothing more than basic social behavior. But here's the truth that very few men are even aware of her greeting is one of the most powerful hidden signals she can give you if she's sexually interested. Women are subtle creatures. They don't walk up to you and say, I want sex. Instead, they communicate through the little details, the kind that fly right over most men's heads. The way she says hello, the way her eyes linger, the tone of her voice, even the way her body moves in that first 3 seconds of interaction can all reveal whether she is secretly desiring something far deeper. This is why understanding greetings as a form of body language and psychological signaling is critical if you want to stop missing opportunities and start reading women like an open book. Think about it. Women are masters of indirect communication. They're conditioned by society not to appear too forward or too obvious when it comes to sexual desire. That's why they create subtle cues, codes that men who are aware can decode instantly. And one of the most consistent, overlooked codes is in the very first moment she acknowledges your presence. A normal greeting is quick, neutral, and forgettable. A sexually charged greeting is full of tiny details that set it apart. If you can spot those details, you'll instantly understand whether she sees you as just another guy or as a man she wants to explore sexually. For example, pay close attention to her eye contact. A woman who is interested doesn't just glance at you and look away. She holds eye contact for a fraction longer than necessary, and often her eyes soften or widen slightly as if she's scanning you. It's not just a look, it's an invitation. That lingering gaze is a silent message. I see you, and I want you to notice me too. Most men are too nervous or distracted to even register this. They look away, they get caught in their own head, and the moment passes. But the man who understands these signals sees that extra second of eye contact for what it is, an opening. Then there's the smile. Smiles come in many forms, and the one she gives when she's sexually intrigued is different from a polite, social smile. Instead of a quick flash of teeth, it's slower, warmer, and sometimes paired with a slight bite of the lip or a playful curl of the mouth. It feels personal, like it's directed only at you. That's her subconscious way of drawing you in without saying a single word. It's a smile that says, I want you to pay attention to me, and I'm already imagining more than just this hello. Listen closely to her voice. A woman who's interested will often unconsciously change her tone when greeting you. She might speak a little softer, lower, or more playful, almost as if she's teasing you without actually saying anything explicit. Sometimes she draws out your name or lingers on the word hey in a way that feels like she's savoring it. It's not what she says, but how she says it. That subtle shift in tone is a sexual undertone most men completely overlook. Her body language also gives her away. When a woman wants sex, her greeting isn't stiff or distant. She'll lean in slightly, angle her body toward you, or brush against you in what looks like an accident. She may touch your arm, your shoulder, or give you a hug that lingers just a little longer than normal. These aren't random gestures. They're deliberate moves designed to test if you notice the difference. And if you do, it's your chance to match that energy and show her you understand. Another powerful detail is the timing and enthusiasm of her greeting. A woman who greets you with eagerness as if she's been waiting for you is sending a clear signal. Maybe she lights up when she sees you. Maybe she interrupts her own conversation just to acknowledge you, or maybe she repeats your name in excitement. That kind of energy isn't casual. It's a sign she's associating you with strong emotions and often with desire. Even the distance she chooses during that greeting matters. Women who aren't interested keep a safe, polite space between themselves and you. But when she shortens that space, when she stands closer than necessary, when her face is just a little too near yours during a hello, that's her way of blurring the line between social and intimate. Proximity is never an accident. If she's in your personal space right away, that's her way of signaling she's comfortable and often that she's open to something more. Here's where men usually go wrong. They assume every greeting is the same. They shrug off these signals, or worse, they overthink them and hesitate. The truth is, once you learn to decode a greeting, you'll see patterns that are almost impossible to miss. A woman who wants sex greets you in a way that's layered with subconscious desire. She's testing to see if you're sharp enough to notice, if you're confident enough to respond. When you miss it, she registers you as just another guy who doesn't get it. When you catch it, you instantly stand out as the man who sees her for who she really is. This is why I say her greeting holds hidden sexual signals. That tiny, seemingly unimportant moment at the start of an interaction is actually loaded with meaning. It's a glimpse into her intentions, her attraction, her level of interest. It's her way of communicating desire in a socially acceptable way. And the men who master reading these greetings never struggle with confusion about women's intentions. They know instantly whether she's just being polite or whether she's secretly hoping the conversation leads somewhere much more physical. So the next time a woman greets you, don't dismiss it as small talk. Pay attention to the way her eyes hold yours, the warmth of her smile, the tone in her voice, the closeness of her body, and the energy she gives off. That greeting may be her way of saying hello, but it might also be her way of saying she wants you in ways she'll never admit out loud. And if you can recognize that, you'll never look at a woman's greeting the same way again. Most men go through life completely blind to the signals women throw at them. They think every hello, every smile, every little touch is the same. They assume friendliness equals interest, or worse, they convince themselves a woman's politeness is proof she's into them, only to be disappointed later. On the flip side, many men miss real opportunities because they can't tell the difference between casual behavior and genuine sexual interest. This is where most guys lose, and it's exactly why women often complain that men just don't get it. The truth is, women know how to hide their intentions in plain sight, and when they want sex, they rarely come right out and say it. Instead, they weave it into subtle behaviors like the way they greet you. And because men are not trained to look deeper, they keep overlooking obvious cues that could change everything. Imagine this: you walk into a room and a woman greets you with a warm smile, steps closer than necessary, her eyes lingering on you for just a second longer. She's signaling her attraction, but most guys interpret it as nothing more than good manners. They smile back, say hi, and then go about their day, never realizing that she was practically opening the door to something more. By the time they figure it out, if they ever do, the moment has passed and the woman has already moved on. This is what happens every single day. Men miss out on opportunities because they fail to read what's right in front of them. Why does this happen? Because men are taught to look for the obvious. They expect women to spell it out, to say directly, I want you, or to behave in ways that leave no doubt. But women rarely do that. They don't want to be judged, they don't want to risk rejection, and they don't want to appear desperate. So they use coded language and behavior. The greeting becomes a test. If a man picks up on the energy, if he recognizes the difference between casual and charged, he passes. If he doesn't, she shrugs it off and assumes he's just not that guy. Another reason men miss these signals is overthinking. Instead of being present and observing, they get trapped in their head. A woman greets them with extra warmth, maybe touches their arm lightly, and they immediately second guess themselves. Maybe she's just friendly. Maybe she does this with everyone. That inner doubt kills the moment. Women can sense hesitation, and nothing turns them off faster than a man who can't act when the invitation is laid out right in front of him. Confidence is attractive, and missing signals screams uncertainty. Then there's the opposite mistake, confusing basic politeness with sexual interest. A waitress smiles because it's her job, and a man thinks she's into him. A coworker greets him warmly because she's friendly, and he assumes she wants him. That kind of misreading not only embarrasses men but also frustrates women. The key difference is in the details, and that's exactly where most men fail to look. They see the smile, but they don't analyze the eyes. They hear the hello, but they don't listen to the tone. They notice the hug, but they don't feel how long it lingers. Missing those layers is what separates men who attract women effortlessly from men who stay stuck wondering why nothing ever happens. A big part of this blindness comes from conditioning. Men are not trained to be observers of subtlety. They're trained to chase, to pursue, to initiate, but not to decode. Women, on the other hand, grow up mastering signals. They know how to read body language, tone, and atmosphere better than men do because their safety and social success often depend on it. This imbalance is why so many women can tell immediately if a man is into them, while men remain clueless even when a woman is practically flashing neon signs of desire. The sad reality is that opportunities are lost every single day because of this ignorance. That girl who greeted you with excitement and leaned in just a little too close, she was probably open to something more. That woman who touched your hand as she said hello and looked at your lips for a second, that was not an accident, but because most men never learned how to interpret these moments, they walk away empty handed, never realizing what they missed. The woman leaves disappointed too, because in her mind she made it obvious. When she doesn't see you respond, she assumes you're either not interested or not capable of picking up on her signals. Either way, the connection dies before it even starts. The difference between men who succeed with women and men who fail often comes down to awareness. A man who pays attention, who sees the way her greeting changes when she's interested, gains a huge advantage. He doesn't confuse politeness with desire, and he doesn't miss genuine cues. He knows when to move forward and when to step back. He can tell the difference between just being nice and I want you. And because of that skill, women see him as more in tune, more masculine, and more desirable. It's not about being paranoid or reading too much into everything. It's about learning patterns and understanding that women are consistent in how they show attraction. When a woman is aroused or curious, her greeting is infused with a certain energy. She might exaggerate her friendliness, add unnecessary touches, hold your gaze longer, or make her voice softer and warmer. These things are subtle, but they are real and they are intentional. Ignoring them is like ignoring a green light while waiting at an intersection. You just sit there stuck while other men drive right past you. If you're serious about improving your success with women, you need to stop being blind to these cues. Start paying attention the next time a woman greets you. Look at the whole picture: the eyes, the smile, the voice, the distance, the energy. Don't just focus on one thing because attraction is layered. If multiple signals align, chances are she's trying to show you she wants more than a polite exchange. Once you train yourself to see it, you'll realize how often women have been giving you the green light without you even noticing. Men who continue missing these signs will always feel frustrated and unlucky. They'll tell themselves women are too complicated or that attraction is just random. But men who learn to recognize these hidden cues will feel like they've unlocked a secret code. They'll stop missing chances, stop second guessing, and start experiencing more success naturally. The greeting is not just small talk, it's often the first and most important clue to her true intentions. And once you stop overlooking it, you'll never play blind in the game of attraction again. Once you understand that a woman's greeting is not random but full of hidden meaning, the next step is realizing the power it gives you as a man when you can decode it. Most men drift through these interactions clueless, treating every hello the same and missing out on what could be obvious opportunities. But when you train yourself to recognize the difference between a polite greeting and one that carries sexual undertones, you give yourself an incredible advantage. Suddenly, you're no longer guessing, no longer hesitating, no longer wondering if she's interested. You know, and that certainty changes the way you interact with women entirely. Think about how much energy men waste trying to figure out if a woman likes them. They replay conversations in their head, overanalyze texts, and stress about mixed signals. All of that confusion disappears when you can spot interest in the very first moment she acknowledges you. If she greets you with warmth, if she leans closer, if her voice shifts into a softer or more playful tone, if her eyes linger on yours or drop briefly to your lips, you already have the answer you're searching for. You don't have to second. Guess. That greeting is her giving you permission to step forward with confidence. Confidence is the biggest advantage you gain from decoding her intentions. When you know she wants you, your behavior naturally changes. You don't stumble over your words, you don't play it too safe, and you don't act like you're begging for her attention. Instead, you interact with her like a man who understands the dynamic. You respond to her energy, you lean into the attraction, and you guide the interaction where it's meant to go. This confidence alone makes you more attractive to her, because women are wired to respond to men who can read them without being told everything directly. Another advantage is efficiency. Most men waste time investing energy into women who were never interested in the first place. They buy drinks, chase, and text endlessly, only to realize later she was never giving them the signs to begin with. Meanwhile, they overlook the women who actually were interested because they couldn't tell the difference. By learning to decode greetings, you stop wasting time. You immediately know who's into you and who's not, and you can direct your focus accordingly. This not only saves you frustration, but also ensures you're putting your energy into women who are open to something real. Decoding her greeting also makes you stand out in her eyes. Women are used to men missing signals. They're used to having to drop hint after hint with no results. When you're the guy who notices the way her hello lingers or the way her touch feels different, she instantly realizes you're more tuned in than the rest. That makes her feel understood, and nothing builds attraction faster than a woman feeling like you see through her layers. Instead of you being another man she has to test endlessly, you become the man who already gets it. That shift alone can elevate you above every other option she has. Beyond confidence and efficiency, the ability to read her intentions gives you control, not control in a manipulative way, but control in the sense that you're no longer being led by confusion. You can choose how to respond. If you're interested, you lean in and escalate naturally. If you're not, you can still acknowledge her greeting politely without feeding into her attraction. Either way, you're in charge of the outcome because you've decoded the truth behind her actions. That power to choose makes you unshakable, and women sense that strength. Now imagine the opposite, a man who never learns this skill. He's constantly unsure if she's flirting or just being nice. He hesitates, he misses the moment, and he kicks himself later for not acting. Or worse, he assumes every woman is interested and embarrasses himself by misreading politeness as desire. Both extremes keep him stuck, frustrated, and unattractive. The difference between that man and the man who understands greetings is night and day. One lives in confusion, the other in clarity. One misses chances, the other seizes them. One feels powerless, the other feels in control. The beauty of this advantage is that it compounds over time. The more you practice decoding, the sharper you get. You start noticing patterns you never saw before. You realize that women are far more transparent than you once believed. And every time you recognize a signal and act on it with confidence, your belief in yourself grows. Women respond to that belief, and soon your whole presence changes. You walk into a room knowing you can read the atmosphere instantly, and that makes you magnetic without even trying. It's also worth noting that women respect men who can pick up on their subtle cues. When she greets you in a way that's loaded with desire, she's taking a risk. She's putting herself out there without being explicit. If you're oblivious, she feels rejected or misunderstood. But if you notice and respond in a way that matches her energy, she feels validated. That validation strengthens her attraction because she sees you as the man who gets her without her having to spell it out. That's rare, and women deeply value it. This is why decoding her greeting is not just about sex, it's about connection. A woman who feels like you understand her signals feels more bonded to you. She doesn't have to over-explain or feel like she's doing all the work. She can relax into her feminine energy while you take the lead. That dynamic is what creates chemistry, and it starts from something as simple as how she says hello. So never underestimate the power of that first moment. Her greeting is a window into her mind, her attraction, and her intentions. Most men are blind to it, but you don't have to be. By paying attention, by reading her signals, by decoding the meaning behind her words, her tone, and her body language, you place yourself in a category most men will never reach. You become the man who understands women on a deeper level, the man who never doubts whether she's interested, the man who moves with certainty instead of hesitation. And that advantage will transform every interaction you have. From this moment forward, stop treating her hello as just small talk. Start treating it as the key to unlocking her desire. The signs are there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the man sharp enough to see them. Once you do, you'll never again be left guessing, and you'll realize just how much power you've had all along. So now you know, when a woman greets you in that certain way, it's not just a hello, it's an invitation. Most men will keep walking through life blind to these signals, but you're not most men anymore. You've got the knowledge, and that gives you the edge. If you found this eye opening, hit that like button right now. It lets me know you're ready to level up as a man. Subscribe so you never miss the next secret women don't want you figuring out. And drop a comment below telling me if you've ever noticed a woman greet you like this, but didn't realize what it meant until now. Trust me, the stories are going to be wild.